Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to this special Thursday night edition of Wednesday Night Madness. I am Anthony Florio, sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher. Work commitments beyond his control. I am, however, joined by the phenom Michael Bullock, and as you know, we were supposed to have the show last night, but we all commitments beyond our control. Unfortunately, put a damper on last night, so we had no choice but to cancel the show last night. And I know you're all expecting. This was originally scheduled to be our NBA draft recap edition of TXN Sports World, but because of last night being canceled, we're pushing last night's show to tonight, and that's the only change we're going to have this week. We'll have the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow, and then we'll go about our business as we usually do. So, with the exception of Monday, actually, because we are going to be taking Monday off for the 4th of July. So, we will not have Ridiculously Raw on Monday. We're going to have a special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw following that. So with that, let's get into this. We got quite a bit to get into here. We're going to start it off with our review of the AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door pay-per-view event that went down this past Sunday night from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, on pay-per-view and Fight TV and other affiliates. Now, we're not going to review these first 4 matches. I'm just going to give you the results because, we usually don't talk about pre-show stuff. We had Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi versus QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi won the match 8 minutes and 55 seconds. Lance Archer versus Nick Comoroto. Lance Archer won the match 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee win the match 12 minutes and 5 seconds. And then Max Caster and the Gun Club against the DKC, Kevin Knight, Alex Coughlin, and Yui Yorimura. And Caster and the Gun Club win the match 5 minutes and 35 seconds. So that's the pre-show. So now we're going to get into the main card, and without any further ado, let's start it off with the 6-man tag team matchup. It was Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki teaming up against Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Yamino in that. And bear with me, I'm all got a lot of stuff here. Just looking for my notes here. All right, so wait. Yeah, no. All right, yep. It was Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki versus Kingston, Yuta, and Yamino, and the heel team wins the match. I have to get the time of the falls here. I'm not getting much in the way of the note department, so I have to improvise here. So all right. This is what we'll do. All right. It was Jericho Guevara and Minoru Suzuki versus Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Yamino. The winning team would receive the one-man advantage for the Blood and Guts match. And it was Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki winning the match 18 minutes and 58 seconds to start it off. This match was chaos, but the good kind of chaos. AEW has been able to make some of these wild multi-man fights exciting on more than one occasion. Everyone performed their role perfectly. There wasn't a single weak link in this chain. The match was not perfect by any means, but it was as entertaining as it needed to be. Ty Conti interfered by hitting Yumino with a bat, but it barely slowed him down. It took several super kicks from Guevara and a headbutt from Suzuki to get him to release a Boston Crab on Jericho. When the dust settled, Jericho hit the Judas effect on Yumino for the win. I'm going to give this about 4 stars for the effort, maybe 4.25, but I'm leaning more towards 4 because of the dirty finish. But other than that, great matchup here, and it started out what ended up being a very good show. Spoiler alert. So 4 stars for me. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this opening 6-man for Forbidden Door?
Yeah, I'll give it 4 stars as well. I mean, I thought this was a solid way to start off this edition of Forbidden Door, and yeah, I mean, like you said, it was total chaos at the beginning in a good way, but yeah, and now, like you said, because of this victory, the Jericho Appreciation Society would start the Blood and Guts event with a 1-man advantage, so that definitely would help them. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say on this, so let's move on to the next match, Florio.
And it was the three-way tag team winner-take-all match for the Ring of Honor and IWGP World Tag Team Championships. We had the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, versus the IWGP Tag Team Champions, United Empire, Great-O-Khan and Jeff Cobb, and Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. The winners of the match, 16 minutes and 19 seconds, and the Ring of Honor and IWGP World Tag Team Champions, FTR. Michael Bullock, FTR turning into belt collectors. They now have the AAA tag team titles along with the Ring of Honor, and now they've added the IWGP World Tag Team Championships. Could the AEW tag team titles be in the distant future?
It wouldn't surprise me at all, Florio, if that rings true to it. So I'll give this about 3 3.75 to 4 stars. I mean, this was another solid match here, and yeah, I mean, FTR. What can you say about them? I mean, this. I don't know about you, Florio, but I think they're giving the Usos as a run as the greatest tag team in the world. I mean, look at them. They got the Ring of Honor, the AAA, and the IWGP tag team titles. I mean, memo to WWE: take notes on how you handle your NXT tag team, especially superstars in general. Because look at what FTR has done since they left WWE. They have 3 tag team titles from different promotion. They got the Ring of Honor, the AAA, and now the IWGP World Tag Team title. So yeah, right now, and I'll say this to you, Florio, FTR is making WWE look like a bunch of fools for getting rid of them, because look at what they're doing right now since joining AEW. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. 3.75 to 4. It's yours, Florio.
Absolutely. First, my thoughts on the match. It had a lot of moving parts, and they had to improvise due to what happened with Harwood. But the competitors in the ring are all pros and made sure everything looked smooth when they could. It never felt like any team was contributing less than the others. And after several close calls, FTR wins it and earns their 3rd set of tag titles to add to their collection. Just amazing. FTR is over as anyone else on this entire card. The crowd absolutely loved Wheeler and Harwood. And it looked like Harwood may have been injured when he went for an elbow drop, but it's tough to say for sure what happened. At least he was able to return, but let's hope he didn't do anything to potentially make any damage worse. And AEW needs to get a championship on Trent Beretta at some point. He has been such a reliable performer for so long. So I'm right there with Bullock on this one. 3 3/4 to 4 stars on this one as well. All right, next up, we had the 4-way match to determine the inaugural AEW All-Atlantic champion, Malachi Black versus Pac versus Miro versus New Japan's Clark Connors. Now, it was originally supposed to be Tomohiro Ishii because Ishii earned the right, but Ishii suffered a knee injury, and it was so severe that he was not going to be cleared in time. So he was out, and Clark Connors took his place. Winner of the match in 15 minutes and 10 seconds, and the inaugural AEW All-Atlantic champion, Pac. Pac wins the title 4 to 4 1/4 again here. I mean, this match had a little bit of everything without anything feeling out of place. It had the usual stuff you expect from a 4-man contest, but the skill of the 4 men involved helped make it feel a little more improvised than some matches like this that have several pre-planned spots you can tell were rehearsed and discussed. Connors got a huge pop when he put Miro through a table with a spear. The crowd chanted his name for a bit, but Pac taking him out put a stop to that. And after hitting Black with a 450, Pac locked Connors in the brutalizer for the win. And the crowd, and that's really all there is to say on this. So, great matchup here. And one notable observation is that Pac and Malachi Black have amazing chemistry as opponents. Everything they did to get it looked phenomenal, and that's the big observation out of this. But Pac finally wins a championship in AEW. You know, after all the titles he won in NXT and WWE. You know, he was a former NXT Tag Team Champion and NXT Champion, as well as a former Cruiserweight Champion of the world in the WWE, and now the first ever All Atlantic Champion in AEW, and very well deserved. And that's all I can say there. So I'm actually going to give this 4 to 4 1/4 for this. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, I mean, you couldn't go wrong with any of these 4. You really couldn't. But to be quite honest, I think Pac deserved it the most.
Yeah, I'm with you, Florio. I mean, Pac definitely deserved it the most because this guy has been with AEW since the very beginning, and many people wondered, would he ever win a title in AEW? And he finally got it. So, yeah, I'm very happy for him. But then again, like you said, Florio, you cannot go wrong with either one of those guys to have won the title, to win the title. But this was an awesome match. 4 1/4. So, nothing more to say. Let's move right along.
And we move on to the 6-man tag team matchup. The team that they called the Dudes with Attitudes, Darby Allin, Sting, and Shingo Takagi, going up against the Bullet Club of El Phantasmo and the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, Hikuleo in their corner. Winners of the match, 13 minutes and 1 second. It was the Dudes with Attitudes. And it was Takagi picking up the win for his teams. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, no surprise with the outcome, but we can't say it enough. Sting, another crazy bump right at the get-go of the match. He dives off the top of the entranceway and dives on to the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo. The man is 63 years old, and he's still taking insane bumps like that. I mean, more and more respect to him every time. But Dudes with Attitudes wins it, 13-01.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Sting is 63 years old, and how in the world is this guy being able to do these things? I mean, and he does it with no problem. I mean, that's the other thing too. So yeah, so I'll give this about maybe 3.25 stars on this for this one. I mean, it was another good match here, but I would have loved to see a little bit more from this, but no surprise with the outcome here. So there's really nothing more for me to say. I mean, Florio, it's yours, and like you said, I don't know how in the world Sting continues to defy everything. I mean, 63 years old, and for him to jump off like that. If you can't respect this guy, I don't know what the hell will make you want to respect this guy.
It's like he's 30 all over again. I mean, it's like when he was the old Sting, the flat top Sting. I mean, we all remember him. That moment,
which I so happened to meet when he was the had the colorful face paint in WCW.
You met him?
Yeah, once when they had the Special Olympics Sports Celebrity Carnival back in it was back in the early to mid '90s, and I actually got a chance to meet him.
It's funny how I'm finding out. I mean, we've had all these chats, but it's not our fault. You know, these things don't come up. But first, you tell me you meet Tim White, and now you're meeting Sting. I mean, unbelievable. That's awesome. So
yep. Well, now you know.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that in our future chats. No doubt about that. But all right. Yeah, Sting coming off the ramp there. I mean, the huge dive there. That moment got the crowd hyped and set the tone for the rest of the bout. Even though they observed the rules most of the time, this bout still felt hectic. Highly entertaining match, had several memorable moments, but it also suffered a bit from a lack of selling. Sting no selling is one thing, but everybody else was recovering from big spots a little too quickly. Takagi was able to get the win for his team. And I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. And it's because of Sting. I mean, seeing Sting take big bumps from dives at his age is both scary and amazing at the same time. The man is a legend, truly a legend. And I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, just the Bucks double super kick. The Darby Allin looked stiff. Allin sold it like he was hit by a truck, and their double tope suicida a few moments later did not look as good. But 3.5 stars for me. That's all there is to say on that. So now we move on to the AEW Women's World Championship matchup. The champion Thunder Rosa defending against Toni Storm. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 42 seconds. And still the AEW Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa gets it done. By default, this was the worst fight of the night here. 3 to 3.25. Now, don't get us wrong. The match was great. I mean, both of these women have reputations for being great workers. So they made sure to test their limits with some fast-paced exchanges early in the bout. As one of the few one-on-one contests on this card, they had some pressure on them to make this memorable. Thankfully, they were up to the challenge. They made very few errors, and the ones they did make were easily covered up when they quickly recovered and adjusted. In a somewhat surprising conclusion, Rosa retained with one of Dustin Rhodes' signature spinning suplexes. They shook hands again when it was all over. And the exchange of chops had a few hard shots from both women. And Rosa's pile driver to Storm looked brutal in the best way. And I will, like I said, I'm gonna give this 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort. By default, it's the worst fight of the night. And now the only reason we say that is it's just because all the other matches, there was just something about all the other matches that were just better, even though this was not remotely bad at all. And anytime you have a worst fight of the night that pulls in a 3 to 3.25 star rating, you know you're doing something right. So that's all we're gonna say on that. So 3 to 3.25 stars on my end. So Michael Bullock, yes, Toni Storm didn't get the win. The outcome was not in doubt, but as I told you when we did our preview about a week ago, I did say that I felt it was a little too soon to take the belt off Rosa. And sure enough, Rosa's going to hold on to it a little bit longer. And And now the big question is, what's next for these two? So, Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 3-3 1/4, and like you said, by default, this was the worst fight of the night, even though it wasn't a bad match at all. I mean, this was still good, and the thing is, you had so many other matches that were on this card that were better than this. So anytime when you have a worst fight of the night that's 3.25 stars, that means you're doing something good here with this pay-per-view. So, and like you said, it's too soon for Thunder Rosa to lose the title, even though, I mean, for me personally, Florio, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, I would have loved to see Toni Storm win that title and basically stick it to WWE for criminally underusing her, because we all know, including you and me, how criminally underused she was in WWE. I mean, a talented woman like her, who was once the UK Women's Champion, and when she got promoted to the main roster, and this is how they treated her. No, it rubbed me the wrong way, and it certainly as hell rubbed you the wrong way.
Absolutely.
I mean, what did end was that whole pie throwing incident. That to me is what really sealed her fate. And I mean, part of me wanted to see it happen, but like you said, Florio, if it was anybody other than Thunder Rosa, I would have said Toni Storm. But Thunder Rosa has been on a roll since winning the title. It's too soon to take it off her. So
yeah.
So there's really nothing more to say. 3.25 by default. This was the worst night of the night, so it's yours.
All right. Next up, the matchup for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Will Ospreay, squaring off against Orange Cassidy. Winner of the match, 16 minutes and 43 seconds, and still the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, Will Ospreay. And Bullock, yes, Will Ospreay is technically the title holder, but unfortunately, Juice Robinson is holding the belt hostage.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, Florio, technically Will Ospreay is the champion, but what the hell, Juice Robinson? I mean, what the hell are you doing? I mean, and you know there's got to be some kind of rivalry going on with these two. So as far as this match goes, I'm going to give this about another 3.75 of a star here, teetering on 4. I mean, what can you say? I mean, yes, say what you want about Orange Cassidy, that he's some kind of a goofball, but damn it to hell, when he's in that ring, he can definitely put on a good match. And when you're in there with someone as good like Will Ospreay, that's definitely got a really good match here. And this was definitely one of them. So there's really nothing more to say. Florio, I mean, Orange Cassidy may be some kind of a goofball, but when he gets in that ring, he can definitely hang with the best of them, and he was certainly in there with one of them, and Will Ospreay, and all I can say is major kudos to him.
Anyone expecting this to be a comedy match was probably surprised to see both men take it so seriously. Other than the opening moments, Cassidy was on fire and working harder than he has since he battled Pac. The story they told with Cassidy trying to show Ospreay how good he is, and Ospreay trying to prove he was the better wrestler. The better wrestler was nicely executed, especially during the back half of the match. Both the action and the in-ring psychology were on point. Cassidy survived several spots that seemed like they would end the match, but Ospreay finally put him away to get the win. 4.25 stars for me. And the spinning backbreaker Ospreay used at one point looked really good. And if you watch New Japan, having Juice Robinson in the crowd with the belt was a nice touch. And what do you even say about a guy who tries to hit 2 moonsaults, a shooting star press, and a corkscrew splash in the span of 4 seconds? Ospreay is nuts, but he's fun to watch. 4.25 stars for me. All right, this was the big moment of the night here. Zack Sabre Jr. The plan was for him to face Bryan Danielson, but unfortunately, Bryan Danielson had to pull out due to injury. But Bryan Danielson promised us that he was going to have a replacement that he said he trusted. Oh, he came through on that all right. We have a brand new addition and a very welcome addition to the AEW roster. A gentleman who I believe was more criminally underutilized than Tony Storm in WWE. Claudio Castagnoli, better known to all WWE fans, formerly as Cesaro. Yes, he is in AEW. And Claudio Castagnoli wins the match. He defeats Zack Sabre Jr. 18 minutes and 26 seconds. 4.5 stars for this. These two are great at a lot of things, but above all else, they are known as two of the best technicians in the game. Every single move they hit looked about as good as possible. These guys are just on a different level. This match was just as good as Cassidy and Ospreay or Storm and Rosa, but for completely different reasons. Going from a respectful fight to a creative spot fest to a technical clinic is a great way to keep the crowd invested or interested, because they are all such different kinds of performances. After a fantastic sequence, Castagnoli won with a powerbomb to have a successful AEW debut. The pop the crowd gave Castagnoli was most assuredly the biggest of the night. If he is part of the Blackpool Combat Club permanently moving forward, it might officially become the best current stable in professional wrestling. Castagnoli casually holding a man above your head while you walk up the stairs to the ring is low-key hilarious. The crowd really wanted to see the big swing and let out a collective groan when Zack Sabre Jr. countered it. When they finally got to see it, everyone was happy again. And Sabre countering a sharpshooter into a heel hook was a thing of beauty. And it's just so great to see Claudio Castagnoli on our screens again. And I hope and pray that now he will get the big star treatment that he should have gotten in WWE. I mean, yes, he had his moments, but they were way too far and few between. And a year ago, we thought he was getting a main event push, but unfortunately, they kiboshed that and he became forgotten quickly. But at least he's in AEW now, and I am hopeful that he'll get that big push he should have gotten in WWE. So, no question about it. 4.5 stars. Michael Bullock, just like I did, and I'm sure everybody in our circle, I know when you saw Claudio Castagnoli, formerly Cesaro, I bet when you saw him show up, you marked the F out like a crazy man, right?
Oh, you better believe it. I mean, you knew that it was going to be this guy, Claudio Castagnoli, otherwise known as Cesaro, and I also agree with you. This was a man who was way more criminally underutilized than Tony Storm, because we thought this guy was going to get a main event push in WWE. I mean, especially when he fought Roman Reigns for the Universal title. But after that, that's when it was pretty much the beginning of the end for him, and that's what it was. So, but now he's in AEW. Hopefully, he can get a fresh start, and him as the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club, I think they're going to be the most dominant faction in AEW. Certainly better than the Jericho Appreciation Society, hands down. So, I mean, look at who you got. I mean, you got Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, and now Claudio Castagnoli. If that's not if if that's not the biggest faction in AEW or in professional wrestling right now, tell me what is. I mean, when you got four of the toughest, baddest sons of bitches in this planet, like these four, I don't know what is. So 4.5 stars as far as I'm concerned with this match. So there's really nothing more to say, Florio. I mean, like I told you, if you if you can't say these four guys are the toughest, baddest sons of bitches right on in professional wrestling right now, I don't know. Tell me where they are right now, because I can't find them when you got these four rough and tough guys.
Oh no. Could you imagine if these guys were in the WWE? If you had this stable in the WWE, they would easily give the Bloodline a run for its money and then some.
Oh, they would dominate them. I mean, you expect me to. I mean, you expect Roman Reigns to have us believe that they're tougher than those four guys? I mean, him and his bloodline? Huh. Roman, Usos. Now you watch a tough faction like these four guys, and in the immortal words of the great Jim Calhoun, get some facts and come back and see me.
I will do just that. All right. Next up, another four-way match. This one for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Switchblade Jay White, squaring off against Hangman Adam Page, the former champion, Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, and Adam Cole. Winner of the match in 21 minutes and 5 seconds, and still the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the Switchblade, Jay White. Bullock, I'm fine with the outcome, but I know if MF was here, MF would be going all Cerebral Viper mode on this, because we know how much MF cannot stand Jay White, but he retains, like it or not.
Yeah, like you said, Florio, I mean, you know what? Maybe it's a good thing good old MF Mike Fletcher's not with us, because if he was, oh boy, he would go Cerebral Viper mode and unleash hell, because like you said, he despises Jay White. And yeah, so look, I mean, the outcome is right as far as I'm concerned, whether he likes it or not. But I'm sure Florio, if he was on right now and he's heard the two of us say that, he'd probably like, oh, what the F, you guys? Are you telling me you're saying this is the right outcome? No, this is not the right outcome. But unfortunately, MF, it is what it is. So, but anywho, I mean, oh man, this was another great matchup here. I mean, when you got four of the best out there, and I don't know, Florio. I mean, part of me, you know what? I'm gonna give it 4.75 of a star. I mean, this was a fun match. I mean, I want to pull the trigger and give it 5, but I just can't do it. But 4.75 definitely is nothing to sneeze at here. I mean, kudos to both men, but the right outcome, this was the right outcome to me. So 4.75 for me. Florio, it's yours. As much as I want to give it a 5, I just can't do it.
Yeah, and it's because of the the pinfall at the end. I mean, it didn't feel like a decisive 3 count. It felt like one of those blink and you miss it 3 counts. That's really what it was. But once they got on the same page, Adam Cole and Jay White began to control the pace. And much like the All-Atlantic 4-Way, this one allowed everyone in the ring to shine at different times. It never felt like anybody was left out compared to the others. Once it was clear they would have to fight, White and Cole threw their reliance out the window. What followed was a long sequence of near falls and attempted finishing moves from all 4 men. In the end, it was White who scored the pin over Cole to retain. 4.75 of a star. This was the fight of the night. And Okada He got the biggest pop of the 4 men in this. The crowd was chanting "Holy bleep" before anyone even threw a punch. And everybody always talks about how good Darby Allin's Tope Suicida looks because it's brutal, but Hangman Adam Page's Tope Suicida is one of the cleanest. And then Adam Cole and Adam Page had mastered the super kick counter to a moonsault spot. It felt like Cole threw more super kicks in this match than both Bucks did in their match. And there was a doctor checked on Adam Cole after the match. Hopefully he's all right. So, but 4 3/4 of a star. This was the fight of the night. And I know a lot of people wanted to see Okada win, especially MF. But thing is, it was just about 2 weeks after. It was just north of 2 weeks after Jay White took the title off of Okada at that New Japan Dominion show. So it was definitely too soon to take the title off of Jay White. But like the man or not, he's still the champ. And Bullock's fine with it. I'm more than okay with it because Jay White has grown on me. If I was a heel character, that's who I would be. I would be a Switchblade Jay White if I was a heel. But I know if MF was here, MF would be coming at us with the tiki torches and the pitchforks, as he would say. So, but 4 3/4, fight of the night, no doubt about it. And now the main event for the interim AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley representing AEW going up against New Japan's legendary Hiroshi Tanahashi. Winner of the match, 18 minutes and 14 seconds. And the interim AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Jon Moxley, becomes the first ever 2-time AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Wow. It never felt like either man was in control for more than a couple of minutes, so this felt competitive and frenetic. The match had a lot to like about it, but something kept it from reaching the level a lot of people probably hoped for. It was a fantastic bout, but you could easily cite better matches from both men in recent years. And Mox and Tanahashi had a nice moment after the match where they showed each other a lot of respect before Daniel Garcia and Chris Jericho ran down to attack both men, and then a whole brawl broke out and all that. So that's really what there was to say here. I'm going to give this 4 1/4, teetering on 4.5. Another one of the fights of the night. And the outcome was never in doubt. We all had a feeling Jon Moxley was going to win, and he did. And question is, how long is he going to hold the title? And number 2, will he hold the title? Will he be the title holder when CM Punk is eventually cleared to compete? So maybe maybe the next pay-per-view All Out, Labor Day weekend, September 4th. Or maybe even the Dynamite Grand Slam, which will be coming back. They're bringing back the Dynamite Grand Slam. It's going to be at the Arthur Ashe Stadium like it was last year. So we're just going to have to wait and see on that. So for me, 4 1/4, teetering on 4.5. Another one of the big fights of the night here, no doubt about it. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, it was never in doubt. We all knew Moxley was going to win. Tanahashi gave him a hell of a try, though. But big question now remains, will Mox be the title holder when CM Punk is ready to come back? And if so, get ready for a Be a Man fight.
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely gonna be a man written all over it when you got these two. But 4 1/4 to 4.5. I mean, this was the second best fight of the night, hands down. I mean, Jon Moxley, becoming the first ever 2-time AEW champion, but Hiroshi Tanahashi definitely gave him a run for his money. So there's really nothing more to say. 4 1/4, 4.5. And as far as my overall thoughts on this edition of Forbidden Door, I'm going to give this 9.5. This to me was, this Forbidden Door pay-per-view. With AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling was a success. I mean, there wasn't one bad match on this card. I mean, the fight of the night, obviously, for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. And then, of course, by default, the worst fight of the night with that AEW Women's World title match, even though it wasn't a bad match at all. So, from top to bottom, there wasn't even a bad match. So, 9.5 for me. It's yours, Florio.
Right there with you. And that's exactly what you told me when we had our Raw chat the other night. 9 and 9.5. For a show with a limited buildup and several injuries that forced plans to change, Forbidden Door was a massive success. Just about every match delivered. Well, no, every match delivered. And the majority of the outcomes felt like the right move. And I'm right there with Bullock on this one. It's definitely going to be a 9 and 9.5 out of 10 for this. So, fantastic show. It's definitely in the running for pay-per-view of the year when we do our year-end awards about 6 months from now. So, so there isn't much more to say on that. So, so with that, let's get into NXT 2.0 now. That went down Tuesday night, as always, on the USA Network. And Tuesday night's edition of NXT 2.0 promised to set the stage for NXT Great American Bash. The only match announced for the July 5th special event was Braun Breaker versus Cameron Grimes for the NXT Championship, but plenty more were expected. Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez wanted a shot at dethroning Mandy Rose's Toxic Attraction, but in order to get to Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne, they would have to defeat NXT's longest-running tag team at Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Built from previous weeks, Zion Quinn would face Sanga, while Giovanni Vinci wanted to prove his style's impact against Iki Manjiro. Indy Hartwell would also look to continue building herself up against Kiana James. Tony D'Angelo and Santos Escobar continue to fight after the Emperor cost the Don the opportunity to defeat Carmelo Hayes and win the NXT North American Championship. And this and more would define NXT 2.0's dive into the summer, including the highlighting of the best rising talent in wrestling. So with all that, let's start it off with our first match of the night. And it was that number one contenders match for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship, as it was Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez squaring off against Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Winners of the match 13 minutes and 46 seconds, and the number one contenders for the Women's Tag Team Championships, it was Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. This was a really strong opener driven by four talented women with chemistry. The action was consistently wild as Chance and Carter especially continued to innovate in the ring. The result was predictable, but somewhat disappointing. Chance and Carter remain the only truly established tag team, but cannot pick up a win over makeshift tandems. Jade and Perez have a very good chance of winning the women's tag titles next week. And Carter lifted Perez in the corner to set up an impressive elevated double stomp from Chance. And that's really all there is to say on that. So, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. One of the fights of the night. You could certainly make an argument for fight of the night, no question about it. It was that good. So 3.5 to 3 3/4 for me. So Michael Bullock, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, golden opportunity for them. Tuesday night, Great American Bash. They will challenge Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. And I believe they're going to dethrone them.
And I'm right there with you. I think they're going to be the ones to dethrone Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne because quite frankly, Florio, because if Toxic Attraction, if they somehow come out and are still the champions, then to me, and I don't know how you feel about it, but NXT 2.0 has a problem because there are no other women's tag team in their division that could face them. So that could be a problem, but I think this is where the reign will end. I mean, Roxanne Perez has really proven herself in NXT since coming to the brand, and her and Cora Jade definitely make a very good tandem. And to me, Florio, I think having Katana, Chance, and Kane Carter go over would have been a huge mistake because the thing is, they already had their opportunity. So it was time for someone else to get it, and it's Jade and Perez. So 3.5 stars is my rating. So nothing more to say. It's yours.
And of course, NXT 2.0. What would it be without cutouts? We've got cutouts here. Giovanni Vinci against Iki Manjiro. Giovanni Vinci wins the match, 2 minutes and 59 seconds. We're gonna bypass that. In-ring segment. We had the brand new NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen, with the beautiful Fallon Henley by their side. And then they were interrupted by Pretty Deadly. And looks to me like we're going to have a Briggs and Jensen versus Pretty Deadly feud for the NXT UK Tag Team Championship down the road. Then from there, we had Indy Hartwell squaring off against Kiana James. And Kiana James actually wins the match, 3 minutes and 51 seconds. Surprise outcome there. I mean, we all would have thought Indy Hartwell would have gone over here, but no. Kiana James, biggest win of her young career, no doubt about that. And then from there, we had... we had a 6-man tag team match. The Diamond Mine, Roderick Strong, and the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Creed Brothers, squaring off against Joe Gacy and his Druids. And Joe Gacy and the Druids win the match. 13 minutes and 56 seconds. Michael Bullock, Gacy and the Druids get the win, but then again, leave it to Diamond Mine to actually get a passable match out of these guys, and they definitely surprised here. I mean, we thought this was not going to be much of anything, but the Diamond Mine definitely made Gacy and the Druids look good in this one.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. And well, what was the time of the fall again?
13:56.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe 3.25 stars for this. I mean, I wasn't expecting much out of it, but this turned out to be something good. And like you said, Diamond Mine really made Gacy and the Druids look good here. But yeah, I mean, but I don't know about you, Florio, but I got the sense that I think Diamond Mine is on their way towards a breakup, especially with Roderick Strong, because excuse me, because right now, I mean, Roderick Strong, it looks like he's throwing his weight around with the rest of the of Diamond Mine to the point that I think Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers, I think they pretty much had enough of them. So we'll see what happens here. But 3.25 stars. But Florio, I mean, like I said, I think Diamond Mine is on their way towards a breakup, and you have their leader to thank for this.
The dissension in Diamond Mine continues to cost them matches. This was a big one, as the Dyads suddenly enter the tag team title picture with this win. The teams worked well to make the most of their time in this bout. If Strong continues to get the way, Gacy could even finally get a big win for his group. While the Creed brothers can be champions for a while, it would make little sense for Gacy to keep failing in every opportunity. This was another. I'm gonna give this 3.25 to 3.5 for this. I thought the women's match was a smidgen better, to be honest with you, and that's and here's the thing, Gacy. It was Joe Gacy. He tried to recruit the Creed brothers from Diamond Mine, instead setting himself up for the 6-man tag. And then the Creeds and Roderick Strong argued backstage afterward. And Roderick Strong challenged them to a match against him and Damon Kemp next week. And I think the titles are on the line. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that come Tuesday night at the Great American Bash. Then we had Sanga squaring off against Zion Quinn. Sanga wins the match, 5 minutes and 8 seconds. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to bypass this because this was an awkward squash. I mean, it seems Zion Quinn has lost some favor in NXT 2.0 given his repeat losses. His giant opponent has the size and look to thrive in WWE, but he should not be this much of a priority over a man who was on the verge of title contention a few months back. Sanga has improved in the ring given recent performances, and he will thrive more on the main roster than in NXT when the time comes. Still, if the company wants to commit to him, he would provide an interesting challenge to Braun Breaker down the road. I got no choice but to give this a dud because this was not good at all. Then we had non-title match, NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose squaring off against Nikita Lyons. And Nikita Lyons wins the match 5 minutes and 29 seconds via disqualification. Well, you know the rule. We're gonna have to NA this. I know Bullock's gonna be with me on that. Mandy Rose did some heavy lifting here to make Lyons look good, and it was almost too much. The match itself was solid, but Lyons did not add enough to it. Her selling was inconsistent. She ran out of moves in her arsenal about 5 minutes in. The weak finish took away from a solid TV match, but it was one that never showed enough to make Lyons look like anything more than a talented rookie against a veteran. All of that is to say the likely rematch to come from this is not promising. It's going to be an NA, obviously, and if I had to give it a rating, it would probably be about 2.25, 2.5, but it's going to be an NA.
Yep. And the other thing is, Florio, I mean, I was originally ready to say Nikita Lyons is a threat to Mandy Rose's title, but after what I saw here, I'm starting to have my doubts now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. So with that being said, we close it out with the face-to-face segment with NXT champion Braun Breaker and Cameron Grimes. And I'll say this. Breaker versus Grimes is a match that did not need much hype to work. The richest man in NXT is a veteran that can make any story work. He sells it with all his work. He sells it all with his words and backs it up with his action. His side of the promo was perfect, building him up as a good guy that has a legitimate grievance with the champion that has pushed him to his breaking point. He may play the heel in the ring, but he could just as easily turn the crowd to his side. Anything can happen next week. It's likely Breaker will win, but Grimes has sold this match as can't miss. And NXT showed a vignette highlighting the power and dominance of Breaker. A later promo went over the way that Grimes has changed since losing his first NXT title. And after hurting Breaker's shoulder, Grimes taunted him, saying he was not afraid of the champion at less than 100%. So this was definitely the segment of the night. This was a very good segment to close it out. And there's nothing left to say except Michael Bullock, since Cameron Grimes clearly got the best of Braun Breaker, booking 101, I believe that Braun Breaker will successfully defend the NXT Championship on Tuesday night at the Great American Bash against Cameron Grimes, even though Grimes will give him one hell of a try in that some.
Yeah, Cameron Grimes will definitely give him one hell of a fight, but I think in the end, I agree with you. I think Braun Breaker is gonna retain the title. So, yeah, I mean, this was definitely a good segment to close out the show. I mean, basically, it shows that Cameron Grimes, I mean, he does have a chance, but like I said, I mean, I think in the end, this is where Braun Breaker is going to remain the champion. So, nothing more to say. As far as my overall rating on this edition of NXT 2.0, I mean, I'm going to give this about maybe a 6 out of 10. I mean, you did have a couple of good matches. I mean, and you had a good segment here, but you know what? I'll say 5.5 to 6 is my rating. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 5.5 to 6 for me as well. I mean, it was solid, but it was not overly spectacular. We'll say that. The women's tag team match was definitely the fight of the night for me. The 6-man tag, a close second. A couple of other solid things here and there, and you had a very good segment to close it out, and with Breakker and Grimes, but I got a good feeling because whenever they have these special shows, whether it's on Peacock for a pay-per-view premium live event, whatever you want to call it, or one of those TV specials on the USA Network, they usually deliver. And I got a good feeling about this. So we'll see what happens when it comes to Tuesday night in the Great American Bash. So there isn't much more to say on that. And now we will get into our final show of the evening, which was last night's AEW Dynamite, the highly anticipated Blood and Guts from the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, on TBS. On the heels of its Forbidden Door pay-per-view, All Elite Wrestling presented a special edition of Dynamite entitled Blood and Guts. The main event was a same title match, which pitted a team led by new AEW Interim World Champion Jon Moxley against a group headed by Chris Jericho, inside 2 rings enclosed in a double steel cage. Which team emerged victorious at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit and put an end to their increasingly personal battle for supremacy? Find out now with this recap of AEW Dynamite. And here we are, AEW Dynamite time, and it was the fallout from Forbidden Door, and we started it off, first match of the night. Oh, I got the wrong set of notes here. Hold on one second here. Try this again. Yeah, it was all right, finally got it. All right, here we go. Orange Cassidy versus All Ego Ethan Page. Orange Cassidy wins the match in an even 11 minutes. Second best fight of the night on this one, no doubt about it. 2 things were readily apparent here. Cassidy's return could not have come at a better time, and Ethan Page might be the most underrated guy on the roster. First, Cassidy's timing and comedic value are vastly underappreciated. His ability to mesh character with in-ring work is a breath of fresh air, given the more serious competitors up and down the rest of the roster. Secondly, Ethan Page is too good to be the tag-along he has become. He is better than being a tag team partner to the TNT champion Scorpio Sky, or the fall guy every time the Men of the Year team need a guy to do the job. He is charismatic, smart, and beyond talented between the ropes. He has earned the opportunity to do more, and hopefully AEW realizes that before it loses him to another promotion. I'm going to give this 3.25 to 3.5 stars. And Cassidy's counter into Stun Dog Millionaire is one of the best in AEW, and Cassidy delivered the body slam in ode to Hulk Hogan's iconic body slam of Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 in the Detroit suburb of Pontiac in the Pontiac Silverdome, which really, that moment, which is the moment that changed professional wrestling forever. And that's why, and that's how professional wrestling really took off from there and to this day. So I'm going to give this between 3.25 and 3.5. Second best fight of the night for me. So not much more to say on here. Michael Bullock, Orange Cassidy, man, he's back, and he's definitely looking better than ever after he was out for a while with that injury. But big win for Orange Cassidy against Ethan Page last night.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, he looked really good against Ethan Page here, and definitely gave him a run for his money with this match here, and yeah, so yeah, there's really nothing more for me to add to it. So 3.25 to 3.5. So let's move right along.
And we have a rare cutout on Dynamite. Luchasaurus a delicious squash of Serpentico. Deliciously squashed him in 55 seconds. Apparently, Luchasaurus got brainwashed by Christian Cage, so it looks like he's going to be Christian Cage's enforcer, I guess you could say. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens until Jungle Boy is ready to come back. So not much more to say on that. Then we had a 6-man tag team match. Danhausen and the tag team belt collectors, FTR, the AAA, Ring of Honor, and IWGP World Tag Team Champions. They squared off against Max Caster and the Gun Club. Danhausen and FTR win the match. 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Michael Bullock, FTR and Danhausen win the match, but it looked like after the match, definitely some dissension among the ranks with Max Caster and the Gun Club, and even Billy Gunn even involved in this.
Yeah, and obviously it looks like you said there is some dissension with Max Caster and the Gun Club. But anywho, I mean, I'll give this about an even 3 stars. I mean, I thought this was a good solid match here, and yeah, I mean, like you said, there is some dissension in the ranks here, so it's yours, Florio.
All right, and then we had another cutout match. Jade Cargill defending the TBS Championship against Leela Gray. Jade Cargill successfully defends the title, 1 minute and 55 seconds. We're going to bypass that. And now it's the main event. The match we've all been waiting for. Blood and Guts. AEW Interim World Champion Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, Santana, and Ortiz squaring off against the Jericho Appreciation Society of Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, and Sammy Guevara. The winners of the match in 46 minutes and 45 seconds. It was the Blackpool Combat Club team, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, Santana, and Ortiz. It was Claudio Castagnoli with a submission hold. It was the sharpshooter. Claudio Castagnoli had the sharpshooter on Matt out on top of the cage, mind you. And the babyface team gets the win, 46 minutes and 45 seconds. Wow. Admittedly, the match is not to everyone's taste. It was brutal, violent, and bloody. There wasn't much of a story thread to be found beyond the closing moments, although individual stars like Yuta, Castagnoli, and Parker shine at different points. Kingston failing to deal Jericho his comeuppance was a major disappointment, given it is the feud that necessitated the whole thing. But Castagnoli stealing the Mad King's thunder sets the stage for their rivalry, a carryover from their days in former U.S. promotion Chikara. Like it or not, the match promised bloody brawling and delivered in spades. That it was better than last year's incarnation was the icing on the cake. We the People chants spilled from the stands in recognition of the history between Jake Hager and Claudio Castagnoli from their days as the Real Americans in WWE. Jon Moxley entered the ring ahead of Kingston. He introduced broken glass to the fray, pile driving Parker onto it. Raucous cries of Eddie spread through Little Caesars Arena as Kingston paced back and forth outside of the steel structure, ready to unload on the opposition. Ty Conti served as the heater outside the ring, passing weapons and opening the cage door before catching an ass whooping from Ruby Soho. Kingston sent Guevara from the top of the cage and threw a wooden platform set up at ringside. And the finish saw Castagnoli force the tap out from Menard, robbing Kingston of the chance to humiliate Jericho. But now, I know based on the time, it should be given the 5-star rating, but I will give this about 4.5 to 4 3/4, though, because this was great and it delivered like we knew it would, especially that Sammy spot near the end. I mean, that became a sensation, a viral sensation overnight, and that's no surprise. And I know everybody wanted to see Eddie Kingston get the moment with Chris Jericho, but hey, it's a great way to get Claudio Castagnoli over. I'll say that for sure. And we talked about it earlier about how criminally underutilized he was in the WWE, and I'm glad that he got to pick up the win for the team there. And there's no question about it. It's definitely going to lead to a rivalry with him and Eddie Kingston down the road. So, but for right now, 4.5, 4 3/4 of a star. I don't know if I can give it the 5 or not. If anybody gave it a 5, I wouldn't be mad at it. But it's a tricky match to rate. But I think 4.5 to 4 3/4, I think, is the best one. So that's all there is to say there. So Michael Bullock, Blood and Guts, 46 minutes and 45 seconds.
You may not have pulled out the 5-star rating, Florio, but you know what? I'm going to do it. 5 stars is my rating for this. I mean, this was freaking unbelievable. I mean, we saw everything from blood and all the different 6 spots, especially when Eddie Kingston threw Sammy Guevara right off the top and onto the wooden platform. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, that was sick. And the thing is, for Eddie Kingston, he enjoyed it. I'm like, that's one sick son of a bitch there. And I know people wanted to see Kingston get the last laugh on Chris Jericho, but I'm fine with Claudio Castagnoli as getting the win for the team because, like you just said, he was criminally underused in WWE, and this is a good way to get him off on the right track in AEW. And and obviously that really pissed Eddie Kingston off, and yeah, I mean, basically it could lead to a match between these two somewhere down the line. So I'm going to give it the 5 stars. And as far as my overall thoughts on this edition of Dynamite, I'm going to give this about maybe 7.5. I mean, you had a bunch of good matches, but you also had a couple of short matches here. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 7.5 for me. I mean, Blood and Guts obviously stole the damn show like we knew it would. Orange Cassidy and Ethan Page, definitely the second best fight of the night. I would probably round out the top 3 with that 6-man with Danhausen and FTR against Caster and the Gun Club. And then we had a couple of squashes, Luchasaurus squashing Serpentico, and Jade Cargill with another delicious squash over Leela Gray. And that's really all there is to say on that. So great, very good show. Blood and Guts definitely lived up to the hype, and no doubt about that. So 7.5 for me, and that's it. That will put the bow on this special Thursday night edition of Wednesday Night Madness. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you tomorrow night. Hopefully, MF will be with us around this time tomorrow, 11 p.m. for the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will have the Go Home Show for Money in the Bank, Friday Night SmackDown. We'll also review AEW Rampage, and then we will preview the Money in the Bank pay-per-view that goes down Saturday night at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. And That will be on Saturday. And then remember, Monday night, we will not have a show. We're taking Monday off for the 4th of July holiday. But we're going to be back on Tuesday night for a special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw, where we will review Monday Night Raw and in my latest Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. Although I think I may do and I will also have the results of the Impact Plus special that goes down tomorrow night as well. The Impact Wrestling Against All Odds. Get into that as well. This show next week, we'll review the Great American Bash for NXT and AEW Dynamite. And next week, provided everything goes as scheduled, we will be back next week for our traditional TXN Sports World, and that will be our NBA Draft recap show. We'll get into that, and we'll go from there. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, and the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching this special Thursday night edition of Wednesday Night Madness right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, and of course, let's not forget, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. Now, for everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.